Welcome back to the show. Many thanks for staying with us. Tomorrow, there will be a forum organized by the Writer Information Coalition here in Accra. It will be mainly seeking to push for the speedy passage of the Writer Information Bill, one of the oldest in our parliament. Let's speak to now Ayele Adefio-Secho, who's the TUC Regional Secretary for the Greater Accra region, representing, of course, the RTI on the TUC. Is that correct? You're welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Let's find out, first of all, where are we with this particular law?
Well, as of 30th of May, we were told the bill had gone back to the Attorney General's office, and as we speak, we've been told it's been moved to Cabinet. So really, that's what we know.
That's all we know.
That's all we know.
And do we have any information on how it's faring in cabinets? I mean,
honestly, no.
I see. How is tomorrow's forum going to change anything at all?
We're hoping that tomorrow the partners, stakeholders we're bringing together, and we're bringing people from the private sector, we're bringing people from civil society organizations, from academia, from the media, we're bringing youth, we're bringing somebody from the Financial Intelligence Center, and ordinary citizen, community activists, you know, on this forum to talk, to push for the powers that be to see the urgency and the need to pass this bill into law.
It sounds like an appeal to me. It sounds like you're making an appeal.
Because we've been back and forth.
Exactly. So
we've protested, we've gone on demonstration. In fact, we have done everything.
So now it's time to cry.
No, we're not crying. We're just telling everybody it's so difficult to have access. You know, if you need information, you can't get information.
Exactly.
But we're told differently. And so we're coming to say again and again. In fact, we have dealt with past governments, previous current governments, and we see there's no political will to pass the bill.
This was one of the areas that the NPP touched on during the 2016.
And they promised they were going to pass this bill into law.
Promises are promises. I mean, some say they're meant to be broken, even though some hold promises quite sacred. So on our part, and I as a journalist, I'm very interested that we see through, you know, this particular bill. But are you inviting any of the people, any person that's supposed to be representing government, and in this case, the NPP governments that touched on this and used this as a form of campaigning?
We're believing, or we believe that, in fact, the NPP has made a promise to us Ghanaians,
right,
that they were going to pass this bill into law.
They owe us, actually, that responsibility.
And so we're thinking the Financial Intelligence Center is going to come representing government, because they're a public organization.
Okay.
You know, so that is where we're looking at. But really, we're inviting everybody. Yes, it is a public forum. Everybody can be there, and everybody is invited to be there. But we're saying it's a shame to promise and not to fulfill the promise.
But we know how politicians work in this country. So what do you say to those who say that let's look for a particular group, you know, that represents government, on whom we can bring a lot of pressure to bear, that they can take back this pressure and make sure that they pass this bill?
Who better to put pressure on than Parliament, than Cabinet, than the presidency itself? Who better to put pressure on?
So what's our plan to reach those people?
We're collating all the information, and we're coming. There is going to be this forum which is going to collate the information, and people are going to give testimony of the difficulty to access information. That's what we're looking at, and we collect all this information and take it to them and tell them, really, it is difficult to access information. You have different views. Also, you have promised us, so walk the talk.
Walk the talk.
And pass
you sound
the
like
bill.
a very frustrated person, and I can feel that frustration.
Well, we've been through frustration and anger, and we've been everywhere.
We've been through the motions. What are the options available to us?
Well, we can still go on demonstration. One of the things that we can, the options available is what you and I are doing right now, pushing government that pass the bill. You promised. Don't fail again and again. Just go ahead and pass it. If you knew you weren't going to pass it into law, you shouldn't have promised in the first place.
For those who are who have lost track of the conversation, why should we bring pressure on government to make sure that this bill is passed by all means and in good time?
Everybody has the impression, and I'm a media person by training, everybody has the impression that it's easy to access information in this country. But you working in the media currently, you know, can bear testimony to the fact that it is not easy. Sometimes you go against a blog when you're looking for information, and then people are saying, okay, there are other laws that, you know, gives you access to information. You know, but that is not true. It is not the reality. Our reality is that when we're looking for information, we don't get. Sometimes you're told, oh, this is information that can't be put in the public domain, you know, and so leadership treats, I'm talking about national leadership, treats the information the way they want to. They think that, oh, you are entitled to have access to this information and you are not entitled. Sometimes you go to you know, the district assemblies, and you want information on a particular thing, and people just decide, you know, based on their whims.
Sometimes they're afraid for their lives and for their jobs, actually.
Absolutely, but then if we have this
law that compels them to give us that information, then they won't have a lot of choices.
Exactly.
I see.
Exactly.
I see. I don't know. Take us through briefly what's going to happen tomorrow. Exactly, are there topics? What are going to people going to speak about? Who are these people speaking? So we can take it from there.
I just want to give a little background.
Please.
This day is International Day for People's Right to Information. It's a day set aside and is marked on the 28th of September every year by UNESCO. And UNESCO is the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization that has put this day aside for us to celebrate or to mark and to say that people have a right to information. And so this year's day is being marked under the theme, Public Access to Information, a myth or a reality. I mean, for us in Ghana, ours is a myth, and you and I know that.
I think we're better off, to be quite frank, to be quite frank on that matter. I think we're better off than some people, but it's still, to some extent, a myth.
Yes, it's a myth.
But that's what we're arguing about tomorrow,
right? You don't have a law. You know, I mean, that's the bottom line. You don't have a law, so you may think that you're better off, you know, compared to others. But you don't have a law.
But you don't have a law. Okay.
You know,
so this is key.
Yeah.
This law is key.
Tomorrow we're bringing together all these organizations, stakeholders we call them, you know, so that they come and attest to the fact that they go for information. You're going for one kind of information or another, and you simply do not get it, you know. And so we put together all these testimonies and send it to leadership in a package and say that, well, I mean, it's about time you pass this bill into law. More so, you promised.
You promised. Well, that's if your promises mean anything to you as politicians. And I'm talking to those of you in Parliament and those of you who are in cabinet, those of you who are in governance. So you can't take the people of Ghana for granted anymore. And I'm sure that the election results have shown it, that this is a necessity, not just for those of us who are in the media, but for those of you who rely sometimes on the media to speak for you. This is quite crucial. So I want you to speak to the people who you are expecting to be there tomorrow. There's power in numbers, right? So the more of you that show up, the more of you that listen, that carry the message along, the more closer we get to realizing that this bill is passed. So speak to people and tell them why they should be there.
Well, you should be there tomorrow. And even if you weren't able to come into the forum tomorrow, you still need to put your spirit behind those who are in the forefront fighting for the passage of this bill. Why? Because sometimes you're afraid to talk. There may be something happening on your job, and you're afraid to talk because you fear you may lose your job. You know, and that's not good enough. All of us have a right to speak up. And please, make this your baby. It's not just the coalition. And so far, it's the coalition that has been in the forefront of this, yes, but also back it up so that we can all have that bill passed into law. We've been fighting for this for over 16 years.
Over 16 years.
And it's too many years, you know, to have no action. Yeah.
Too many years wasted. Is there anything happening on social media?
Yes, there is something. I mean, Twitter, I checked this morning. Yes, there's something happening on Twitter.
Is there like a hashtag or anything that people can follow that makes it easier, or?
It's the RTI coalition.
The RTI Coalition. Okay,
yeah.
so look for the RTI Coalition on social media.
Yeah.
We know the kind of magic that social media does lately, don't we? So let's see what we can push through with this very great tool that's available for us, not just using it for trolling, etc. But thank you very much for coming, except, of course, if you have any final words.
Oh, no, I just think that it's about time we had a bill, we had a law, you know, and more so our leadership have promised. You know, leadership has promised they're going to pass this bill into law. They should just pass it so that we all have our peace of mind. We're tired of fighting.
We are tired of fighting. And if they are not doing so, it's up to us who put them there to force them to do so. We pay them, don't we? Okay, I've been speaking with Na Ayele Adefio-Sechwe. She is the TUC Greater Accra Regional Secretary, and she's representing the TUC on the RTI Coalition. Tomorrow, we'll bring you a live coverage of that meeting, of course, and we'll bring you a lot more in our subsequent bulletins as well. Let's move on.